So the state of New York is amending more of its firearms laws in anticipation of losing the Supreme Court case New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think it's time for the Supreme Court to once again uphold our rights to keep and bear arms, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. I also want to give a shout out to one of the main supporters of this channel, which is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense liability protection. So if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you take a look into USCCA, and I'll put a link to them down in the details section. Also, I want to thank another major supporter of this channel, which is Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee has some of the best coffee out on the market, and they are huge Second Amendment supporters. A lot of the proceeds from the sales of the coffee go to various 2A organizations, and Jared from Guns and Gadgets is actually part of that company as well. So they support the Second Amendment, and they also have awesome coffee. So if you guys are interested, you can use the links down in the details section, in the comment section, and if you use the code ARMSCHOLAR, you can get 10% off of your order. So like I said in the intro, in this video, I want to talk about how the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen Supreme Court concealed carry case has just resulted in the state of New York trying to preemptively change their laws. The state of New York has introduced a new bill, S1192, which seeks to create a firearms safety certificate mechanism in the state along with training requirements. Now, in a prior video, we talked about how New York was trying to pass another bill which seeks to prohibit firearms in any and all locations with 15 or more people. And that was also being done in anticipation of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case. With these two bills, it is clear that New York is concerned after listening to the oral arguments before the Supreme Court, and they are trying to amend their laws in any way that they can to try to avoid the Supreme Court's decision. Now, for those of you who are not aware of what's going on in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case, and you don't understand why this is so important, let me explain real quick. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association is a challenge to the state of New York's concealed carry permit requirements. The state requires a person to provide proper cause to be issued a permit to carry concealed. The issue is that the state does not actually consider self-defense a proper cause, and therefore on that justification alone, people have their permits denied. Essentially, a person in New York has to distinguish themselves from the average person to be granted a permit to carry concealed. So the whole question before the Supreme Court is whether the state of New York violated the Second Amendment with their May issue licensing scheme that does not treat self-defense as a sufficient justification for a permit to be granted. Now, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in this case, which are very important because this is going to be one of the first Second Amendment cases that the Supreme Court has heard and will rule on in a very long time. For reference, there are really only about 4 Supreme Court decisions that touch directly on the Second Amendment and issues involving the Second Amendment. Those cases are Miller, McDonald, Caetano, and the landmark case Heller, which is often cited in all these Second Amendment cases. And this case here, this New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen case, is likely going to be the next landmark case. Since there is just a handful of cases the Supreme Court has decided, this area of Second Amendment law just really hasn't been fully fleshed out, and the result is that a lot of the precedent is in the lower courts, and lower courts have essentially run amok and made up rules and decisions as they go. With this decision, however, a lot of those prior cases and precedents are in jeopardy, and even more directly, the state of New York's firearms laws and their concealed carry restrictions are even more in jeopardy because those are being directly challenged in this Supreme Court case. In reaction to this case and concerns that the Supreme Court will likely rule in favor of the right to carry concealed, the state of New York has introduced a new bill. The bill is S1192. So I'm going to read to you real quick what this bill seeks to do, and then we're going to talk about it. This bill states that no person shall possess a firearm unless such person holds a firearm safety certificate issued pursuant to this section. It goes on to state, the course of instruction for the issuance of a firearm safety certificate shall include the successful completion by the applicant of A, not less than 5 hours of classroom instruction on the safe handling of firearms, the methods for safely storing and securing firearms, and keeping children safe when such weapons are present, and the applicable federal, state, and local laws relating to the purchase, sale, possession, transportation, and storage of firearms. It goes on to state B, not less than 2 hours of live firing instruction at a shooting range using the type of firearm the applicant anticipates purchasing, possessing, or acquiring. Notwithstanding any other provisions of law, a person attending a course of instruction for an issuance of a firearm safety certificate may possess a firearm for the limited purpose of fulfilling the requirements of this paragraph while under the supervision of his or her instructor. And then it goes on to say C, a safe handling of a firearms demonstration as attested by a duly authorized instructor. The bill then goes on to say that an individual must score 75% or higher on the test before they can be granted that certificate. And of course, there are fees and costs attached to all of this. The bill states applicants may be charged a fee to cover the cost of administering the written exam. So those are kind of the main requirements that are being put in this bill. These types of restrictions also always have costs and fees attached to them. And the big goal of these types of restrictions is first, to make it harder and more complicated to exercise your right, to the point where some will actually say it's not worth the headache to actually do and go through all these processes. The other goal is to essentially price people out of their rights. Being a firearms owner is not a cheap thing to do. You will have to actually purchase the firearms in the first place. All accessories, holsters, storage requirements, all those, you have to buy all of that to go along with just the firearm. And then you have to go through all these processes and pay all these fees. And the whole goal is to essentially price more impoverished people out of exercising their rights. Now, beyond all that, this bill also goes on to require that you keep the certificate wherever firearms are stored or on you if you are transporting a firearm or potentially carrying one. And finally, the bill makes this arbitrary certificate only valid for about 2 years, and you will need to renew it. And of course, go through all of those courses and renewals fees and all of that every 2 years just to maintain this certificate. So what this new bill seeks to do is create a firearm safety certificate requirement that you must have before you can actually have a firearm. Now, New York already has various requirements, licenses requirements for handguns and carrying, but they're going to go a step further with this and require you actually also have a safety certificate. This is similar to what states like California do, where we have to have a valid firearm safety certificate to be able to purchase a firearm. However, New York is different in this bill because they are requiring a 5-hour course, 2 hours of live firing, and a safe handling demonstration for you to actually get this certificate. In the state of California, it's just a multiple choice test that you pay. I think it's like $25. They can charge up to $25. You kind of take this multiple choice. I think it's 75% as well. You have to get or higher, and then you get your firearm safety certificate. We also have safe handling requirements, but that's at the purchase of a firearm. It's not to get the certificate. But we also don't have this training requirement attached to the certificate. New York is going to require additional training for this specific certificate. And then my assumption is if they do finally open up concealed carry, you're going to have additional training requirements, classroom times with that as well. So you can see how all this stuff is going to start to stack up and become even more of a burden on your right to keep and bear arms. This bill is nothing more than a backdoor attempt to create further restrictions on the exercise of your fundamental rights to keep and bear arms. And this is being done because the state of New York can see in the tea leaves that the Supreme Court will be coming down against their concealed carry laws in some way. So New York is trying to add arbitrary safety certificate requirements, plus a restriction on the possession of firearms anywhere where there are more than 15 people. And these two in conjunction are trying to restrict firearms and the use of them before the Supreme Court actually issues their decision. They are trying to get ahead of the decision and try to put in place any restrictions that they can get at this point. So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Al Gore's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jets and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. Again, I cannot thank you guys enough for everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed, who's hit the notification bell. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, and helping me to reach and educate more people than I could have ever thought. Thank you guys for all of your support. And also, I want to let you guys know that I was notified a couple days ago that I actually made the Gundy's top 4 for top voices of the Second Amendment. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. Thank you to everybody who voted for me in the Gundy's. We made it in the top 4. I'm going to get to go out there. We'll see if I win, but it's just an honor to be actually in the top 4 for that category, because when you look at some of the people in that category, it's pretty insane that we here on this channel that I made that category. And that's just a testament to the community we've built here on this channel and all the support you guys have shown me. So again, thank you guys for all of your support. And as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation is built by armed scholars. This nation will maintain by armed scholars.